that's kind of their home already. And Vinny and Zexro trying to get an uncontested drop.
Well, one of our duos that we did see perform so well over the course of the day and have their own victory out, Airwax and Nikov. They've already lost Nikov, and now Airwax is trying to fight. He does get the elimination, does take down Tixi, but he's going to be by himself now as he's looking to potentially get into these placing points because the limbs are going to be very, very tough indeed. And look at this, Snobby Shores, Zexro, and Vinny not going to be challenged out with, at the moment, there's going to be 2 players above them.
It looks like they're going to try to just split Snobby Shores here, the south side. I don't expect them to try to contest the northern team. I expect them to loot the southern side and then move over to those houses on the south and then rotate on into their usual rotation off of Viking.
All right, so they have adapted their style, so congratulations to them. I'm definitely proud to see them do that and realize it was a necessity considering how the last game did go. In the meantime, we see Nate and Funk Bomb here up against Scram and Sakona. A couple of bottle rockets going off in the meantime. And we will have Jam Side and SSK7 with a little bit of contention themselves, but they seem relatively safe for now. All right, so not going to see if any action breaks down again. The further we get through the day here, Speedy, I feel like teams are going to start changing up their style drastically. 5 games left to go, including this one. The shield, mini shield trying to be dropped there. The small shield's not actually going to land on the ground. A little bit unfortunate for them. We see Aydan and nickmercs as well. Towards tilted up against Gamers Origin, Jules, and Miz.
We actually saw nickmercs here, not contested, but moving on over to Scram. Ends up going down. And
well, we did move to Scram. Yeah, we did move to Scram for the second he was alive there. Now Sakona's going to be pushing up, trying to do something about this as well. But you can pretty much predict how it's going to go in a 1v2, though I said the same thing about Aydan, who's almost able to pull that off.
So now up to FaZe, Nate to clutch this up. Actually, Funkbomb and Nate both just kind of have to slow play this and find Sakona trying to get any little angle there. It's no need to rush this. It's a 2v1.
Yeah, exactly. Get this solid limb. Don't lose out too much HP. So you can transition a little bit further on. They're actually low on builds here. You see Funkbomb is going to be completely out, but it doesn't matter. He's going to be dropped. Again, a little bit of dancing going on here for Nate. The disrespect as they get the frag. And now Miz and Jules trying to still battle against Aydan and nickmercs. We'll see though, Miz looking to come in from the high ground, actually going to be under the staircase. Going to have to be very careful here as we now hear the trap even coming in. But that will be Jules cleaning up nickmercs, looking for Aydan now as they do actually have him coming in from behind. And Gamers Origin will win out the fight towards Tilted.
And nickmercs and Aydan go to the lobby. Better luck next time, my friends.
I can hear the sympathy in your voice to them. We have History and Fa up against Jamside and SSK7. These actually 2 teams, relatively high placing. History and Fa from Brazil have been doing really well over the course of this tournament. They had a little bit of a rough day today as they both got eliminated earlier on to Storm Surge, and in the last game they did not make it far at all.
And they're actually getting contested here in Paradise, something we haven't seen before in the previous games. So Paradise is one of those drop spots that has a ton of loot for both of these teams. Definitely don't need to rush anything here, but SSK and Jamside deciding, hey, maybe our previous drop didn't work. We're going to try to contest here and try to figure out what we can do if we can try to clean out the duo that's currently contesting, similar to what we saw with Vinny and Zexro getting pushed off of their spawn.
Yeah, and also keep in mind, even though it did say currently ranked 28 here for Fa in History, it's a close aim here, 203 meters. And looking to spam down on Vinny, putting it all on Zexro's shoulders. Can they hit the shots? Can Zexro get here in time to help him out? And Vinny will have to go back to lobby, and Zexro going to be by himself now in this round.
Hero living up to the name, 203 meter knock.
This is not good. Zexro has to stay alive. If he falls now, 0 points yet again, and the 20-point difference between number 1 and 2, well, they're not gonna be number 1 anymore, I'll tell you that. There's almost no way they can continue to be number 1 if Zexro falls now.
So even though they changed their drop, changed their strategy, it still didn't end up working. This team was still looking for them, and they ended up getting a snipe.
The thing is, they transitioned from Snobby south, right? Why not go north? Why not go a different direction? Why not go away from the duo who's been challenging them the last 2 rounds?
So this is exactly what I was talking about. They just decided to change up their initial drop and then go on with their regular rotation off of Viking through the southern side. But I guess aim here on Faxwalk.
I mean,
we're looking out.
How often do you hit those shots at the same time, to be fair? That was a great snipe there, as you mentioned before, out of aim here, living up to that name. In the meantime, the duos we did have with History and Fa up against SSK7 And Jamside is looking to come to a conclusion as now the Brazilian's going to get aggressive here to challenge out against them. In the meantime, BloodX and Zypan going to be up for the FaZe crew here. Nate is actually low on HP.
The action does not stop here in Fatal Field.
They just ripped it out.
Smart move.
And I like that,
smart
right?
Move.
Like, there's no point with how little games are left to be eliminated this early. Use anything you have to get away, because if you fall now into the 0 points, you can almost say goodbye to a top 10 finish.
But it does look like BloodX and Zippin are going to be hot on the trails.
Trying to do some return fire here, Nate, to prevent them from engaging on right away. Again, back to Paradise Palms here with Fa.
Kind of an interesting thing to note here, there are no third parties anywhere in the area. This is a 2v2 that's going to drag on until it's over.
Oh, or until History can hit shots like that. Does tag up SSK7, takes him down to white HP. Fa's even looking to push in as well. They have to be so careful about how they do this, considering they need to push it from other angles. But I don't see Fa just yet. It's going to be History by himself, and it looks like Fa might be getting a nice flank in here. But they're keeping them locked in. You can see the VP boys are on the back foot.
Just trying to take control here of that mid-ground of the building, trying to get lost anywhere they can, make sure that they're confusing their opponent, always moving, always trying to confuse and muffle their sounds and footsteps.
Yeah, and the thing is, you got to be very careful when shooting, because when they hear you shooting, that's their opportunity to move, right? So their footsteps won't be heard as loudly. Maybe they can sneak up on you, but the health, I'm still going to say in favor here of Ints, as they're still looking somehow for this one. We do have the zone going to be in their favor too, so it's not like they need to rush this fight anytime soon. They have a lot of materials to use on top of this here, Speedy.
Yeah. Jamside and SSK just kind of using that vertical audio to their advantage, just trying to make sure that their opponents cannot find them, or at least are struggling to.
So if you're in this situation, Speed, if you're History and Fa, how do you get to the two VP guys? What's your like go-to plan?
If I'm Fa?
Yeah, if you're the Ints guys, how do you get into that?
You kind of have to work your way in very slowly and methodically. Just start wall replacing, just start trying to find, you know, where they're at, and then isolate them as best as you can. Maybe if you have some stinks or some clingers, throw those down. Some dynamite, throw that down. If you don't, then just good old-fashioned pickaxe.
Okay. Well, we did see them continuing that fight. We're gonna head over to Razaru though, and X8, the G2 guys. There's actually throwing quite a few stink bombs in here. Luckily for Moana, he's not gonna get caught on, at least for now. We still have a lot of teams though, because you can see in this general vicinity, we have about, what, 3, 4 teams, potentially 5, as we see a couple flying in as well. And then Clyde and Moana still fighting for another day. The problem is the stink bombs are still coming through, and that's a lot of damage being done here. It's going to force out the advantage potentially.
Razaru actually ended up going down there in the elimination feed and getting sent back to the lobby.
Yeah, back to the lobby he goes, but he's going to hope his teammate X8 can do something about this. In the meantime, Safin's8 looking to flank around in this one, maybe pull off a third party, maybe pull off 3 libs if they're somehow able to do so. And X8 is just, I almost want to say, trying to hold on. If you're him now in a 1-on-2, potentially a 1-on-2-on-2, what are you looking to do? He's
looking at that volcanic vent. That's his only way to get safely into zone. Well, you know, there's no mobility in his inventory, no launch pads. He has 2 duos sitting underneath him, a couple of other duos rotating around, and he has a long way to go to zone. He needs to get some more sort of mobility.
We talked about Paradise Palms. We talked about how there was no one else in the vicinity, and look how quickly that's changed now with that zone coming in. We see about 3, 4 potential other teams going to be fighting this one. History and History and Fa have not been able to get those eliminations onto Jamside and to SSK7, so credit to SSK7 and to Jamside to stay alive. But now there's other teams here. You can see Alpha on the very high ground looking to potentially get some shots off. Smith and Milan are victors from our last game in round 9 here as well.
So they prolonged the fight so long that, you know, 3rd, 4th, 5th parties started to move on in. And this is Zenner's zone. So people are just going to start making their own homes here and building it out, farming all the buildings, getting settled in.
And composure, I think, is a big factor to talk about for both those teams, realizing, again, we don't want to drop early and just try to make sure to stay alive most important. That's the #1 plan, stay alive. #2 plan, get these limbs. #3 plan, question mark, question mark, question mark. And #4, win the game.
Absolutely. We saw Jordan and Jesse here. We saw yesterday that they do have the potential to win games, right? But after that one game, we didn't really see much more after that. So I'm really hoping that we start to see them start pull ahead and start shining.
Yeah, and the thing is,
for that OC region.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of points they have to make up for if they want to break into the higher rankings. We also have the Storm Surge active in the meantime, which is forcing a lot of these teams to play even more aggressive. At the moment, Jesse's going to be above the average. I believe Jordan is as well here. We're starting to lose out to some players. You can see in the top left-hand side of your screen. No big names just yet, but names nonetheless. Because now Zate's looking for a shot.
And this is the eastern or the western border starting to get populated here on the zone. A lot of players starting to just kind of make this their home on the eastern or the western front. The problem with that is that if you start to get a really bad circle, right? You can't really start to maneuver in.
You're like fighting from behind the whole time,
yeah.
Right?
Mobility has to go down. Mobility has to be wasted. Mats have to be wasted if you don't get circle. And that's exactly what happened here. The circle ended up going over to Paradise.
Even with that snipe out of aim hero earlier on, looks like he will fall. Vinny's going to be happy about that one after being sniped out. And Fox as well. So the duo who got their elimination onto Vinny has dropped from Storm Surge. They were not able to find anyone after that elimination and weren't able to keep themselves alive. That
snipe was just not enough to meet the threshold.
Yeah, well, that's unfortunate, but that's how the cookie crumbles for him. Meantime now, Indiza and Svenos able to live to fight another day. Beehive and Coffee, we haven't talked about them too much, but they are still looking decent in the overall standings. In the meantime, Jamside has been able to get the double elimination onto Fallen History. So eventually, after what seems like forever, VP guys will take down their opponents who challenged them out initially on Paradise Palms.
It was hard fought, but GG's.
GG easy. No, it was definitely not easy at all here. Bizzle and Demo very high on HP. Pretty much in center Paradise Palms as everyone else is starting to close their sights here on this lonely city. Well, not lonely anymore, I guess we should say, as Kuna and Mitro. Haven't really talked about them too much, but we did hear, even in the interviews, about who are the top players. Mitro's name was still up there quite a bit.
Absolutely a force to be reckoned with. A couple of the Atlantis players here kind of making themselves at home next to each other. Atlantis, Mitro, and Kuna next to Majin, chasing down their teammates, actually getting some tags here. Majin, no shields on him.
So over 2 hours has been able to get elimination on Tyovsky. I can still hear every time I see his name, yet. And we have the launch pad being used as 8 safe, going to rotate back into the zone.
So this is what I was talking about. When you're this far away from the zone, you need to put down those launch pads in order to get in. You have a really far rotation, especially with so many people around you.
Yeah, and well, they were able to get some distance, but they still haven't closed the distance completely, though, Speedy, so they haven't been able to actually get into the sweet spot just yet. And the zone we do have is something we've seen a couple times today. It's actually halfway over the water again, so it really eliminates a lot of the area that you can use, a lot of that real estate to your advantage to build it, to get safe in. So I'm imagining we're going to see a lot of people in Paradise Palms start to transition over towards this eastern side.
Well, this is actually a very interesting zone because the zone cannot move over the water, really. Right, the half circle will not reveal itself over the water, so you kind of have a 50% chance of getting in the half circle now if you're on land.
Tomo going to be cleaned up here as well as items, so another duo that we've seen in the top 10 start to struggle. Even though they've not actually got any victory royales, they've been consistently doing well and sneaking under the radar.